Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're going on a real quest for the ultimate night sky. We're talking about a view of the cosmos so powerful, so rare, that it's pretty much become the stuff of legend.
All right, let's just jump right in with a question that sounds like something straight out of science fiction. Can the combined light of all those distant stars, of our galaxy itself, really be bright enough to cast a shadow here on Earth? Believe it or not, the answer is yes, absolutely. This isn't some hypothetical, it's a real, observable thing, but it's a phenomenon that has been almost completely wiped out from our modern human experience thanks to the glow of our cities.
We're talking about a kind of darkness that completely changes the game. The Milky Way isn't just some faint, cloudy streak anymore. No, it becomes this brilliant, structured, overwhelming presence that completely dominates the heavens. It becomes the main source of light.
So this is it. This is your guide to finding that lost sky. We are going hunting for what astronomers call a Bortle Class 1 sky, the absolute rarest and most pristine view of the universe you can get from the surface of this planet.
Okay, so to find this treasure, we've got to understand our map, right? And I'm not just talking about finding a spot with no streetlights. We're talking about a scientific way to classify darkness called the Bortle Dark Sky Scale.
And this is the top of the mountain, the absolute pinnacle, Bortle Class 1. In a Class 1 sky, the only light pollution is the universe itself. I mean, just stop and think about that for a second. The sky is so pure, the only thing stopping it from being pitch black is the natural glow from our own atmosphere and, the light from billions and billions of stars.
So here's what's really fascinating. The difference between a sky that's just great and one that's perfect, it's subtle, but it's also massive. It's something you can literally measure, but also something you can just feel.
And this table here, it just lays it out perfectly. Look at the jump. In a Class 2 sky, which, don't get me wrong, is already mind-blowing, the Milky Way is super structured. But in Class 1, it's so bright it casts shadows. And check this out, the clouds. They aren't just dark spots. They look like literal black holes punched out of this glowing, starry canvas.
Okay, this is where your brain might start to hurt a little bit. In a good way. The scale for sky brightness, it's not a straight line. It's logarithmic. What does that mean? It means every step up is a huge leap in darkness. A top-tier Bortle 1 sky isn't just a little bit better than a Bortle 2. It can be over 2.5 times darker. That is an insane difference. And it's that extreme, almost unbelievable darkness that leads us to the most legendary, the most talked-about feature of a Bortle 1 sky, the shadow-casting Milky Way.
And listen, this isn't just some theory from a textbook. People who have been to these incredibly dark places, like the famous Okie-Tex star party, they talk about this all the time. They say they can literally see their surroundings, walk around on the ground with the only light coming from the soft, silvery glow of our own galaxy. So how on earth does this work? Well, it's kind of a perfect storm. First, you need a complete and total absence of man-made light, zero. Then your eyes have to fully adapt to the dark, and that can take a good 45 minutes. Once that happens, all the light from the billions of stars packed into the galactic core, it all adds up. It becomes this ambient light source, and that's what creates these soft, ghostly shadows.
But, and this is super important, we gotta manage our expectations here. Those incredible photos of the Milky Way with all the stunning colors, that's what cameras see over long exposures. Our eyes just don't work like that. In the dark, we use our rod cells, which are amazing at seeing in low light, but they don't see color. So you're not going to see these vibrant purples and reds. What you will see is mind-blowing structure and detail, all in these incredible shades of silver and charcoal and gray.
All right, the big question. This all sounds amazing, right? But where in the world can you actually go to see this for yourself?
Well, when you start looking for true Bortle 1 darkness in North America, you see a really clear pattern. There's a huge split. The reality is, because of population density and just the general atmosphere, that ultimate dark sky experience, it's pretty much a Western phenomenon.
Yep, the high, dry deserts. Those are the strongholds. We're talking about places like Cosmic Campground in New Mexico, Big Bend in Texas, or Great Basin in Nevada. They have this perfect trifecta of being super remote at a high altitude and with really low humidity. All that just cuts right through the atmospheric haze and gives you that crystal clear shadow-casting view.
Now, over in the east, you can absolutely find some world-class dark skies.
Places like Cherry Springs in Pennsylvania or Katahdin in Maine are incredible. They are solid Bordeaux Class 2 sites, truly spectacular. But that higher humidity and those faint little light domes you can see on the far, far horizon, they just keep them from hitting that absolute top-tier Class 1 status.
Okay, so let's say you've picked your spot. But if you're really going to do this quest, knowing where to go is only half the puzzle. You also have to know exactly when to go. So let's build your star map for 2025.
You know, timing is literally everything. You've got to go during what we call Milky Way season. That's when the bright, dense core of our galaxy is actually visible. Here in the Northern Hemisphere, that season really peaks in the summer months, from about June to August. That's when the galactic core is highest in the sky for most of the night.
And if we want to get even more specific, here are the absolute golden weeks for 2025. You have to plan your trip around the new moon. If you don't, the moonlight will just wash everything out. So for next year's peak season, we're talking about the last week of June and the last week of July. Those are your best shots, bar none, to witness this.
All right, one last thing, and this is kind of a cool, counterintuitive tip for 2025. We're getting close to the peak of the sun's 11-year cycle, right? That means the sun is super active, and it actually energizes our upper atmosphere, making it glow a faint green color. Now, if you get out to one of these remote sites and you see that glow, don't be bummed out. You're not seeing light pollution. You're actually seeing the atmosphere itself breathing. It's a sign that you are in a truly, truly pristine location. You know, the most incredible thing to remember is that this view, this primal view of the cosmos, it's not gone. It hasn't disappeared forever. It's still out there, just waiting for you in the darkest corners of the world. This is the sky our ancestors saw every single night. So really, the only question left is, when are you going to go see it?